Ladies and gentlemen, I have great pleasure in announcing to commence our proceedings with the recitation of Holy Quran by Mr. Izzattullah Mojededi. I will request him to recite the Quran. Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون.
The greatest pleasure, and it is my proud privilege to announce to you very hopefully and very proudly our most eminent intellectual in our midst. He is not only the author, but he is editor, in charge of so many scientific experiments in his own individual capacity as well as for the community. Tonight, we have some very celebrated brains assembled from all over the world, including India, Professor Faruqi, Mr. Sayyid Yaqub Sahab from Pakistan, and we have got very fortunately in our midst Mr. Weber, who is the mayor of Paris Verdes, and we are very grateful to him for having come to us. Now I would request that this evening's proceeding be further proceeded with under the chairmanship and presidency of Ms. Dr. Atiq Siddiqui, please.
I take pleasure to participate in the inauguration of the book, which is written by Mr. Zahir Ahmed, a well-known author, and the name of the book at this time is Muslims in India. That's really a fantastic book. Those people who have read, they have made excellent remarks. Let me show this one. This is the title of the book, and at the back you can see Taj Mahal, the world's famous building in the world, and this is Taj Mahal. Okay, Mr. Zahir Ahmed, he has been known for a very, very long time. His services are really creditable to all the Muslim community, not only Muslim community, but beside that, all the other communities, like here in Paris Verdes. Mayor can witness me about that, because other people, they have advertised in the newspaper in different places, and his services, community services, and is really well-known person in the community, Mr. Zahir Ahmed. From the last few years, he has been involved in acting as a trustee, and the Islamic Center, South Bay Masjid, was started actually by him. And he has done a lot of research. No one can deny about that, how much devotion he has given to the community and how much work he has done. It's really fantastic. When you go through this book, Muslims in India, so far many authors have done a lot of researches. But out of those, I think living in this country, it gives a really fantastic idea what the way he has presented this book is really very natural, realistic, and most of the historical facts are clear in this way. There are a few common mistakes, and that is human nature. Those mistakes can be removed later on. We talk about that, but mostly the credit goes because he has taken a part, which is India. India right now is like communist country. So far it's approaching towards that. So India, and he was living there. He has experience of Indian culture, Indian community, and all those people. Everybody knows India was a subcontinent, and still it is subcontinent. Why it is called subcontinent? Because there are so many different reasons. All the physical, agriculture, human resources, every kind you can find there. Any kind of fruit, if you want, name it, just you find there. any kind of religion if you want, name it, you find there. So first of all, I would like to present a small token of appreciation to Mr. Zahid Ahmed and his wife, because his wife also shares fully. Without her share, he could not, yes, of course, he could not do this kind of thing. Wives has 50% contribution. Without wives, no one can do anything. Like I'm involved in some activities. From Pakistani American Association and the community. Please, this is your small gift, and this is your gift. Let me this one.
That's a nice one.
It's a great pleasure to have a gift like this.
ये अच्छा बंधन है ये.
This is a gift of $1 million.
Could you just please?
Yeah, I
appreciate it. And this is. Okay, I don't want to take too much time, but really I appreciate their help which they have provided to the community, to all the Muslim and non-Muslim media. Besides that, he is president of United Muslims of America. The organization started in San Francisco. From the past 2 years, he has been the president, and there is a journal. He writes many articles in that one, and he has written and published other books like A Space Quran. That book is really marvelous. Those people who have seen, there is a video prepared for that one, and I guess it is half an hour video, 45 minutes. And it has been shown to Islamic centers, to other places. That gives a realistic idea about that black hole, which is that kind of thing. There are so many related factors. Relativity theory, he has already presented, he has published, I think, about 6 years back, something like that. So he has been working a lot, and he is engineer in Hughes Company, Hughes Aircraft. He knows all the scientific knowledge. Besides that, religious knowledge, he has studied a lot. When he started this book, from this one, he started from Adam and Eve. And he has given a very good reasoning, because in Ceylon, that Adam's foot is there, although it is 9 feet wide, but it still there is something matching towards that side. And he ended at the end in the book to Qaid Azam, because Qaid Azam is the founder of Pakistan, which is a Muslim country. It was founded on 14th of August 1947. It's a midnight, that's why the India and Pakistan, there is a midnight participation. Two countries came into existence, and from the colonialism of British government. So now we are proud of him to have such kind of writer, the best on this place, especially on this part of the world, Southern California. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
We will kindly, on his behalf I am talking, we will invite Mr. Jamal to say a few brief word of thanks on behalf of the student community of Muslim community in Los Angeles. Mr. Jamal.
It's been a great pleasure inviting me here, and whatever I say cannot be enough what Mr. Zahid Ahmed has done. It's a great encouragement for students like us what he is doing, because it gives us the morality to push ourselves to do something what he is doing today. And from all the students of Southern California, what I will say is that we'll keep Mr. Zahid Ahmed as our example, and we'll try to take his steps, try to follow his footsteps and achieve what he's achieving, and we'll, inshallah, will achieve that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. As there is a shortage of time in our hands, out with the permission of the President, request Mr. Qamar Hussain Farooqi, who was the Vice Chancellor of the Alighar University for more than 25 years. He is currently with us, and we are very proud that he has studied this book in a very short time, and his comments, most valuable comments, will, I hope, be appreciated by all of you. Before I request him to come, I have again forgotten to mention one very particular, very eminent name of Mrs. MEHRUNNISA Hassan, who is our poetess of Los Angeles from the East. Mrs. MEHRUNNISA Hassan. Mr. MEHRUNNISA, I said, now you come, sir. You want to sit down or you want to? Anything.
I think you should give. Dr. Atiq Siddiqui, Begum MEHRUNNISA, sir, and I believe that her counterpart, another poetess, is also here.
No, she is missing. She has left me today.
Mr. Weber, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, it is really a great pleasure to comment on the productive work of Mr. Zahir Ahmed. He has done research on this topic, Muslims in India, for 2 long years, and it is just a pleasure to know from Dr. Atiq that his wife was fully associated with this work,
Yes.
and that is why the work is of such a high eminence and valuable to everyone who knows the history of Muslims in India. This is a research work, and we call research is the search for truth. He has rightly found out the truth of Muslims' independence and their participation for the cause of India and how they secured the independence from the Britishers. A political saying is, man is born free and is found everywhere in chains. Muslims in India, they were in the chains of Britishers, and that chain was very, very hard. I would like to inform you that this book has exhaustively dealt from the commoner Muslims to kings, poets, and scientists, as well as the writers. You know, the independence movement by Muslims in India was started by 2 twin brothers. By the word twin, I mean 2 famous brothers, Maulana Muhammad Ali and Maulana Shaukat Ali. And that movement was known as Khilafat movement. I may quote something of the words which their mother used to say, Boli Amma ye Shaukat Ali ki jaan beta khilafat mein dena. So the participation of common Muslim was on account of Khilafat movement. This continued, and it continued to such an extent that many Muslims courted arrest and they suffered greatly in the hands of Britishers, the imperialist monarchs of the country. You know that he has also collected, Mr. Zahir Ahmed, a number of pictures, and those pictures also speak of themselves. The picture of Taj Mahal is really worth quoting here. This picture gives you an idea what Mughals have given to India during their regime. This Taj Mahal, a fanatic non-Muslim remarked that it was a temple, but his ideology or his preaching failed because it was baseless. This Taj Mahal is giving revenue to Indian government more than any other building here or any other monument in Los Angeles or in America. No Disneyland can give so much revenue to this country as Taj Mahal is giving to the Indian government. Thousands of visitors come every day and visit this wonder of the world, and they pay their homage to the architectural ability of the country as well as to the Muslim contribution in our country. Then not only Taj Mahal, but there is an example of Dr. Sir Iqbal Ahmed, our distinguished poet, who gave, although a Muslim, he gave us the national song, Sare Jahan Se Acha Hindustan Hamara. And now this has been taken up by our rulers, and they sing in every important meetings, Sare Jahan se Acha Hindustan Hamara. I am quoting a few examples to tell you how Muslims have served this great country. Adam and Eve, as Dr. Atiq Siddiqui has said, they have their footprints in Lanka, there is Adam Bridge, and there are other monuments of Muslims present here. For instance, the Fort of Delhi, built by Mughal emperors. Then there is Jama Masjid. All these are good examples of Muslim contribution to our country. Our Kalim, our writer of the book, The Muslims in India, has given a vivid account of every activity of Muslims and their contribution to the cause of development of India. I know that our writer, Mr. Zahir Ahmed, will not die. He will live long through his book, Muslims in India. Muslims in India, whenever they will read, they will not only appreciate what they have done to this country, but they will also appreciate the contribution of Mr. Zahir Ahmed. I may tell you here that Muslims have been large-hearted in every respect to this country. Consider, for instance, Mr. Jinnah's contribution. He was supposed to be a communalist from top to his boots, but if you just study what he has done for India, you will be surprised to know that he gave a will and all his property was transferred to the school in which he studied. This is a Muslim heart, so generous and so kind wherever. Although Jinnah would have been very happy to donate this amount to Pakistan, but he allowed his palatial building to the school in which he studied. What I am emphasizing is this, that Muslims, wherever they have gone, they have given not only their self-recognition to the country to which they belonged, but they always tried to add to the grandeur of this country. And Muslims in a large measure have done it. Although Muslims are, like other countries, not very happy in India, but I would say, in spite of all thy faults, India, I love you. And I have a faith that a day will come when India will be drifted towards the achievement of Muslims and they will be regarded as the main asset of manpower in this country. I may not consume much of your time, valuable time, therefore I beg your pardon to cut short my speech here. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
With your permission, ladies and gentlemen, I will resume my discourse, and especially referring to Mr. Farooqi's hint and suggestion about Mr. Jinnah's achievement. I have to admit that Mr. Zahir has thrown positively very good light on the achievement of Mr. Jinnah, but for the edification and enlightenment of intellectuals, especially of the Indian intellectuals, and for people like Mr. Weber, I would like to mention that he was the first Indian leader who was surfed with the liberal tide of William Gladstone. He had the noblest imprecations of Edmund Burke, John Stuart Mills, and people like Sir William Pitt. He continued that under the discipleship of Mr. Dadabhai Naoroji and Firoz Shah Mehta. He was the first Indian who was in the Congress in 1904, and while the Pakistan movement was taking shape in 1906 and the Muslim League was being founded, he was the only Muslim who did not attend that, but he went to the neighboring town Calcutta with 44 Muslims, and he joined the Congress as the liberal, moderate leader of people like Honest John Morley and eminent viceroys like Lord Curzon. After that, in 1910, he achieved what was not achievable by any, and he was elected as the Counselor with people like Motilal Nehru, and he was the first man to expose that Indian freedom should come first. Before that, he invited all the leaders of the country for the unification, political unification of Hindu-Muslim coexistence. And eventually in 1916, the famous Lucknow Pact took place. That brought the Hindus and the Muslims and all the communities together under one roof, and the political movement, a unity was achieved which was never thinkable by any other leader. And in a spirit of boldness, in 1918, he appointed the Bombay Governor Lord Wellington. He was the first Indian in whose name People's Jinnah Hall was created in Bombay on 20th December 1918. He was the boldest man to propagate the Satyagraha movement of South Africa before anybody dared to speak against the British imperialists. He called them the cruel and harsh treatment meted out to the South Africans. Eventually, he proved to the people that he was a practical politician. He was very extremely loved and coveted for by people like Sarojini Naidu, who called him the untiring ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity. He was a virile patriot from the beginning to the core, to the end. And eventually, I will cut down my speech. Up to 1928, he was a thorough Indian. Before, in the Indian National Congress of 1928, he was literally ousted from the Indian National Congress. And from that onwards, in 1930, he championed the cause of the Muslim people, and from there commenced the movement of the Pakistan. Thereby, the country became divided, and he was now who was the man who was known as the best ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity. He became the arch culprit of Hindu-Muslim unification's vivisection. But at the same time, Pakistan is his noblest achievement, biggest achievement of a single individual. He created not only a state nation, but changed the course of history and modified the map of the world. With these words, I would now request Mr. Atif Siddiqui to deal for the proceedings.
First of all, I'd like to say that I'm here tonight as an observer more than anything. I'm a Christian. I'm a Swiss nationality, but I've observed already that there's a lot of similarities between Pakistanians and Swiss. They're both good fighters. It's been very interesting for me to learn about the history of your country and the religion and the relationship between the universe and the Quran. And I've learned a lot tonight. I don't know how much I will be able to assimilate, but it has been extremely interesting for me to be here as an observer. And you, sir, have a lot of talents, not only technically, but the ability to evaluate things, and evidently as a scientist, you have to have those abilities. But to be able to write, and I've glanced through the book there, and I found it extremely interesting about the Taj Mahal, and that's something that all of us know about. Now, one of the reasons why I am trying to learn about the Muslim religion is that I am involved with a company that makes a computerized prayer clock for the Muslims. And we have, the company is called MEHRUNNISA. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's headquartered in this area here, and they make a computerized prayer talking clock that tells you when to pray. And we have 450 of our clocks in the city of Mecca.
That's great.
And we have about 200 in the University of Riyadh. And hopefully we hope to have our computerized talking clock in every mosque in the world. And
Great service.
the thought was given me today of maybe coming up with something computerized that will also tell you when the moon is visible, is sighted, and where it is sighted. So
we need it very bad.
Very bad.
From 1400 years. We need that. It will go to you.
So we will work on that. With
Please
today's,
work on that.
with today's technology, anything is possible. It's really very easy. It's just a question of taking the time, right? But anyhow, I do thank you very much for inviting me here tonight. It's been extremely interesting for me, and I hope to see all of you again in the future.
Sure.
Assalamu alaikum. So it has been a very great honor for me to study this remarkable book of Mr. Zahir Ahmed. I just glanced through it yesterday, and very modestly and very sincerely I must say that the little reading that I have done so far, this is the finest, the briefest, the shortest, and the most informative, educative book I've ever read. Some of the things he has put down in this book, no Muslim has ever put down, in my opinion. There may be a difference. I may be lacking in my knowledge. But a man, a person, a gentleman, I should say, who is not professionally connected with religious things, has written a book of this description. I was very highly impressed by a book written by Mr. Goswami, an Indian gentleman, on Tipu Sultan. And it was the most frank book, and the most sincerely he put down everything in that book. And I was very proud to read it. And I was sorry that the Hindu is writing about Tipu Sultan and no Muslim has ever written such a thing. But when I read this book,
Yes.
I was really felt so honored that a Muslim can write a book of this dimension, of this spectrum. And this book, if it is enlarged, made into greater volumes, I wish him all the luck. And the way you are going about this book is something most remarkable. I read a book sometime by a German, and that book was entitled Muhammad the Man. It was a wonderful book. I was highly impressed. But here again I'll say, this book has impressed me more. Mr. Zahir Ahmed, you are a great person.
I'm honored for this. This is a great honor for me.
Thank you, Mr. Rahman, for your comments and advice. Would you like to?
It's enough.
It's enough.
It's enough.
Okay, now at this moment I would like to request our very famous poetess, I would say. And she has written many books, novels and other books in different language, in Urdu language, because she was grown up there in Hyderabad, Deccan, is India. One part because Muslim culture reflects from certain parts, like Hyderabad, Lucknow, Delhi. These places are really famous for that culture. So she belongs to one of these cultures because she was born there, and she has presented so many different things. And she is very active in the community. Wherever she goes, she just gains the heart of those people. And now I would request MEHRUNNISA Meher
ज़हीर अहमद को मैं बरसों से जानती हूँ, बल्कि अजीजदाराना ताल्लुकात भी हैं। मैं ये भी जानती हूँ कि ज़हीर साहब के हाथ में एक जमाने से कलम नाच रहा है। वो जिधर चाहते हैं उसका रुख फेर देते हैं और वो चलने नहीं बल्कि दौड़ने लगता है। अदबी कारनामे जलवागर होते रहते हैं। इस बार ज़हीर साहब ने अदबी, तारीखी, इस्लामी जवाहिर रेज़े जमा करने की ठान ली और इस जुस्तजू में न जाने कहाँ कहाँ गए, किस किस तरह की दर्द सरी मोल ली, कैसे कैसे कठिन रास्तों से गुजरे, मगर धुन के पक्के इंसान ने जवाहिर रेज़े आखिरकार जमा कर लिया, जो आज किताब की शक्ल में मंजर आम पर भी आ गए। मैं इस कारनामे पर मियाँ ज़हीर अहमद को मुबारकबाद देती हूँ और मुझे खुशी है कि मेरा अजीज अमेरिकन राइटर गिल्ड में शामिल हो गया। मियाँ ज़हीर ने की है जो खिदमत कौमी, मियाँ ज़हीर ने की है जो खिदमत कौमी, उसे न भूल पाएगी नस्ल इंसानी।
Very good. Very good.
Known him from very long time, and since that time she has known just the pen in his hand. It has been just moving differently. And now finally he has reached to that point. He collected all the jewels from different places all over the world. He has suffered a lot going through all this process. But now finally he has collected all the jewels, are presented in the form of book, and he is serving the nation, the community, and all the people. He is proud, and the community is proud of him. That's the main theme.
Mr. Chancellor, what agitated you to write this book as Muslim in India here at this place, and what is the main theme?
What is your approach here?
Very good.
And what is the approach?
Now is a tough part for me. After doing all this. Yeah, that's an excellent question. I like to answer that because that is the real thing. What has happened recently for the last 5-6 years, especially in India, there have been lots of Muslim problems. The Hindu-Muslim riots, and in those riots what happens is the losers are Muslims most of the time. There has been property damage, loss of life. Then we keep hearing about this fact. Again, please note that I have been in this country 26 years now. So I'm like anybody else. I hear things. What is the truth? I don't know. But since I was born and brought up in India, I could see what is happening. I could see very well. And we have a lot of relatives there. My father is still there. So I found out that in the process of this fighting, the riots, the killing, Muslims are the people who lose their properties, who lose their jobs, who lose their lives, and they get the blame in the government of India. That these are the people who started this whole problem. So then it touched me after a certain number of years. It touched me, especially when I found out that this famous there was a small mosque in UP near Delhi called Babri Mosque. Babri
Masjid.
Babri Masjid.
Built by
Babri Mosque.
Babur, the emperor.
Right. And that mosque was ordered by the Supreme Court of India to be converted to a temple. It was ordered. It was an official order by the judge to convert that masjid, that mosque, into a temple. That hurt me. I'm a writer. I'm an emotional man. So I write things. So that hurt me. What is happening now? Then I began to think about Allama Iqbal. And then I began to see what Jinnah did. What was in the minds of Allama Iqbal and what was in the mind of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. And I was very convinced that what they had in mind was the security of Muslims in India, in the Indian subcontinent. That was the problem, that was the worry that Allama Iqbal died with. He spent all his life worrying about the future of Muslims in the Indian subcontinent. And like I'm a writer and a scientist, he was a poet. And he expressed his worry, his concern
through his poetry, and it worked like magic. I mean, it was a household word. Iqbal's shairi, Iqbal poetry was a household word in every Muslim family in India before independence. Then I began to see myself the practical development, the practical shape of Allama Iqbal's ideology through Muhammad Ali Jinnah. You see, I found out that Jinnah was concerned in the same way. As a matter of fact, if you read my write-up on Jinnah's and the Indian National Congress, Jinnah was actually a member and a president quite a few times of the Indian National Congress for 15 years, fighting for the independence of India. He had no idea of forming Pakistan for 15 years. He was a nationalist, you see, and he was inspired by the poetry of Allama Iqbal, no doubt, but his main theme was we want to drive the British out and bring independence to India and live peacefully there. But as he experienced this thing for 15 years,
30
around,
30 years.
well, as a member of the Congress, he was 15, that's what I
No,
read.
up to 1930 he was Congress.
Okay.
30 years.
30 years, all right. So after all this time that he spent for the independence of India and no Pakistan mentioned in it,
No, man.
in the last few years he began to realize that it's not going to work. He found that when the Constitution of India was being formed, the Viceroy came and asked the Congress, the Indian National Congress, to give them a draft of the Indian Constitution of the future independent India. And it is then Muhammad Ali Jinnah found out that the Constitution of India, the free India, did not include any demands of the Muslim community. It did not include any promise to the security of the huge Muslim population of India, who were the rulers of India just a few years back. You see? And such a community, such an advanced, intellectual and brave community who ruled the country for 1,000 years were totally neglected in the Indian Constitution. That hurt Muhammad Ali Jinnah.
Right.
You see, these are the things that I learned from my research, which many books do not write that way. As a matter of fact, the other community blamed Jinnah as a person who left Congress for the sake of power and glory and this and that. But if you look at the facts, Muhammad Ali Jinnah was almost 74 or 75 or something like that. He was getting old and he was sick. He was sick and he was very old. How could you expect a person of his age and his sickness craving for glory and power? I can't see that. From my logic, I cannot see this. If he was a young man, 40, 50 or something like that, yeah, there's some reason for that. And he was getting tired. But when he found out that the Nehru report, which was the first report of the Constitution of a free India, was submitted to the British, there was no mention of the Muslims of India. That is where the crackdown occurred. That is where he went to that Nehru Report Commission, which was held before the British people. He screamed and screamed about the Muslim security, Muslim demands. And at that time, Gandhi was there, Nehru was there, and all the other people in the Congress were there. They paid no attention to it. They sort of ignored it. They said, well, Jinnah is, Muslim League is shouting, don't worry about it. They have no power, they have nothing. So that was the attitude. That is why he separated. Then he resigned from Congress, went back to England, then he met Liaquat Ali Khan, then Liaquat Ali Khan inspired him. Then they both came back, and then he was elected as the leader of the Muslim League. It is at that time Jinnah realized the dream of Muhammad Iqbal, that the Muslims have to have a security, and the only way to secure now is to have an independent state, which is Pakistan. This is the thing. So when I saw this recent development for the Indian Muslims, I felt, gee, these dreams of these people, Allama Iqbal, Shaukat Ali, Muhammad Ali, and Jinnah, and many other leaders, these dreams are still there. It is an incomplete dream, in my opinion. Incomplete dream. Then I thought of writing, what exactly is a Muslim in India? What is this? Especially our American brothers here and American society knows very little about the Muslim contribution in India. To them, India means, excuse me, these are the facts. We know, I've been here 25, 26 years. You got a new guest now?
Yeah.
I felt
Come on in.
that for example, in my own hometown,
Sorry, you had to.
an article in a newspaper was published insulting the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in my own town. This was about 2 years back. The article insulted very badly. And you know what happened? These young people, these were teenagers, Muslim boys, came to that printing press of the newspaper. They burned the whole press. They burnt it, put it on fire. In the process of burning, the police came there and shot them, killed. These young boys were killed by the police. According to them, they broke the law, that's true. But according to the Islamic fashion, they could not take the fact that a newspaper insults the Prophet. You see? So, how do you judge? Do you judge them as criminals? Yeah, they are criminals in the Indian Penal Code, but in the Islamic thought, they are martyrs. You see? It's a very difficult situation. What do you decide here? So when I found this, start finding this, then this mosque being converted to temple, then I said, oh my God, what has happened now is what Iqbal predicted, what Jinnah, what Shabari predicted. Our Muslim community in India is going to lose the identity.
Right.
They are going to lose the identity. The future of Muslims in India, to me, look pretty dark. I want to be honest. Then I said, I think I should present a material like this to somewhere, not in India, even in America. Transmit the information so that out of 1 million people, 5 people read this. It may be enough. It may be enough. These 5 people, if they really understand what has happened and what kind of struggle the Muslims have done in India for 1,000 years, what kind of sacrifices they have done, what kind of bravery they have shown for the sake of the country, and how much risk they took, and how much of a good treatment they gave to the Hindu subject during the 1,000 years of rule. The Hindus had complete freedom of religion. They never went and criticized. And there is also a few chapters I have written on Indianization of Islam. There are 3 chapters, the Indianization of Islam. You please note there the emotional there. The emotion is the Muslims were even able to modify the religious thoughts a little bit so that they can absorb Hindus as their friends. You see? Of course, from the theological point of view, some of the things they did is not correct. But emotionally, there was an attempt to win the friendship and the love of the Hindu brothers. This is the kind of Muslim rule that they had. And finally, when they start suffering like this, I thought that I present this material and bring this information to anybody, whether he is a Muslim or a Hindu or an American or Christian or Jew, I don't care. Sir, this is what has happened here, and what can you do about this? First of all, our own Muslims in India should read this book and realize how much of a root they have in India. This is the roots, you see. And this is the best thing I can answer you for this. I think I took too long a time to answer you.
Because he has made a great effort to complete this thing. But that's my suggestion, one is suggestion, because he has left all the people just to think at the end what we should do. And that's a question mark. Although he did not mention the question mark at the end, but that idea he has left to you. Just think about what you can do. Because all the religions, they are the same root, same mission, same goal. But what happens? During the way, people just deviate. And that's the problem. Problem was there in India, because Muslim and Hindus, they were not getting along, and those people were not getting along because of some of the politicians. It's not them. They were living along very well. But the politician made them not to get along and not to sit together, not to eat together, not to talk together. That was the reason. So it's up to us. We have to think how we can bring this community together and bring a peace to the whole world. It's just only one mission, but the main mission is bringing peace and mission, all these kind of things, togetherness for the whole nation, for the whole universe. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I like to present you this one.
Thank you very much for finishing this like that.
Yeah, right. That's right. You have to sign it.
It is a great pleasure for us to present this book to Mr. Weber. And I'm very glad, sir, that you came here today, and I hope it was a beneficial event for you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmad, and congratulations. And I was your hospitality really was fantastic.
Thank you.
I thank you.
And it's a great honor for me, from everybody, that I was really thrilled. You guys really rewarded me for this. Now I don't feel bad.
No, you deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I appreciate Mr.
Thank you for coming.